Good afternoon. I'm so very pleased to be here speaking with you today. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited about the turnout we have. It's incredible. And as I was introduced, my name's Rhea, and my husband is currently manning the camera. So hi, Josh. We live in Verona, and one of my main passions is caring for and loving our natural world. I would say it's actually probably one of Josh's favorite things too.
That's true.
Yeah, I figured so. So since we have so many people joining us and we're using a phone for the main video, could I perhaps have someone from PBS playing moderator who can interrupt me in real time to ask questions that may be written in the comment section? Could somebody do that for me, please? Awesome, wonderful, thank you. Let's see, one more question before we get started. And actually, I guess people can just shout this out. Are there any areas or topics that primarily interested you or that you're excited to learn about today?
Low waste.
Low waste. I think that we can handle that. Anybody else? All right. So as I mentioned, one of my main passions is caring and loving our natural world. It's so incredible. Oh, I just get, I'm seriously getting teared up about it. So incredible, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it's raw, it's magical, and it's very humbling. This deep love for the earth informs my pastimes as well as my daily life, but environmentalism and sustainability were not always areas that I knew much about or even intentionally sought out. But like most good things in life, it just happened pretty organically and actually pretty recently too. In early 2017, Josh and I watched the documentary Before the Flood with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I learned about the devastations of the palm oil industry being the single force driving orangutans to extinction. And unfortunately, palm oil is in very nearly everything. It's in our household cleaners, toothpaste, soaps, lotions, makeup, anything used in the shower. And open up the fridge door or the pantry door and you'll find even more of it. Crackers, cookies, peanut butter, chocolate, margarine, ice cream, even vegan ice cream, snack foods, instant foods, frozen foods. The list goes on and on. It's absolutely everywhere. And I was very
quickly, sorry, if Josh could uncover the speaker on the phone. I think it's a little hard to hear. First, if you could just uncover the speaker for the phone.
His hands aren't actually on it. Oh no, I hope this isn't going to be a problem. Perhaps if I speak more loudly?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I can speak loudly. Can you take a step to the right, please? Thank you. Okay, so I can speak more loudly. So I was shocked to learn that palm oil is in absolutely everything. And I had decided in that moment that my snack foods weren't worth it. I didn't want to be responsible for the eradication of an entire magnificent species. Around the same time, I was also becoming aware of the plastic waste crisis. And it just so happens that I realized that decreasing my consumption of palm oil and decreasing my plastic waste go very much hand in hand. So if I cut out the processed foods and mass-produced foods, then I'm also cutting out the plastic packaging that goes along with that. So I started moving toward a whole foods plant-based diet, and I began finding my own recipes for making easy DIY home cleaners and hygiene products. It wasn't long at this point that I realized that wiser generations before me, like my great-great-grandparents and earlier, they were smarter than me about this. They had it figured out. They practiced a lot of low waste practices. They didn't have the option for modern conveniences of instant foods and clamshell packaging, and they understood how to manage all of their needs in a more sustainable way, with better understanding of self-sufficiency and how to better work with nature to provide many of their needs. They would reuse resources, and they would conduct their homes in ways that may not have included name brand or mass consumerism. These are mentalities that we're trying to incorporate into our daily lives now. So I started delving deeper. I wanted to learn more and more about sustainable, kinder, and more gentle ways to live. So really my journey started with one realization and one action, which led to another realization and another action and another and another. And I just kept gaining momentum. And before I knew it, I was making a list of 130 plus sustainable actions that we practice, and found myself performing speaking engagements. I really think that before our journey, we were pretty normal Americans, not considering the impacts that our daily decisions made. We started with 2 people producing a full 13-gallon trash bag weekly. And now we're at 2 people creating enough trash to fill 1 tortilla chip bag every 4 or 5 weeks. Admittedly, among COVID, some of our low impact practices have now become global health hazards, and so we can't continue all of the methods that we are eager to start back up on. So there are some noticeable changes in our trash as well, particularly how we purchase some produce as well as our pantry items. So in order to best advocate for our ways of living, I think it's best to explain it from this point of view. Everything that we bring into our homes, every item that we purchase at a store or consume into our bodies, is made of resources that originated from somewhere else on this planet. And to make these items, every single one of these resources were removed from their natural location. Please hear that as resources were removed from another living, breathing creature's habitat. Whether it was removed from the ground, the ocean, or the forest, it was an item whose first function on Earth was to provide shelter or food or fulfill some symbiotic relationship with another living creature. And now, anything that was relying on that resource or the innumerable other resources that were damaged through the process of extracting it, they now have to do without those. So it isn't really just a cup of coffee or a banana or a shirt that we're purchasing, right? It's energy, it's precious resources, labor, transportation that we're all using, and habitats we're affecting, and waste that we're creating at all levels of production and purchase and after the item is consumed, and industries and ethics that we're supporting through our purchases. So now I like to ask myself a series of questions anytime I'm considering purchasing or consuming an item. 1, is this a need or a want? 2, is this item worthy of the resources and energy that went into creating it? 3, is this a reusable item or is it disposable trash? 4, am I able to find this secondhand, refurbished, or from a local artisan or company? Am I able to find this without packaging? And lastly, what kind of planet am I creating by purchasing this item? Am I empowering a socially ethical and eco-conscious company? Or am I promoting a socially and environmentally unethical system? You know what is not socially or environmentally ethical? Plastic. I think most of us in this room are familiar with pictures showing plastic waste polluting far off waters and killing marine birds, turtles, and whales. But sadly, the truth of this destruction extends beyond those infamous pictures. There are giant gyres in each of our 4 oceans that collect and swirl islands of plastic. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is 88,000 tons. That's equivalent to 500 jumbo jets, or the weight of 13 billion plastic bottles. These plastics are even found in the deepest location of our Earth, in the Mariana Trench. These plastic items are forever in our ecosystems now. They never actually biodegrade into innocuous or organic compounds. They literally exist forever. Even once they break into smaller and smaller pieces called microplastics, which are so small they may not be able to be seen with the naked eye, they continue to wreak havoc. These tiny pieces have literally begun snowing down on us. These tiny microplastics that are made of hormone inhibitors and metabolic disruptors and nervous system disruptors are now found in the flesh of the fish in our seas and in the salt on our tables. Microplastics have gotten so diabolically out of hand that they have been shown to be disrupting our planet's largest carbon sink, our oceans, because phytoplankton and zooplankton, the organisms that are most basically charged with capturing and sinking carbon into our oceans, are ingesting microplastics into their system, which hinders the necessary cycle that allows them to properly sink the carbon, which allows it to be released back into our atmosphere. But folks, we're talking about plastic after it's used and thrown away, right? We're talking about the tail end. Not so obvious is that the beginning stages of plastic are dangerous too. And you and I are actually living in ground zero within the Marcellus Shale, which is the largest natural gas field in the United States. And gas companies have been targeting our area like vultures to seize our land, build conventional and unconventional fracking, and pollute our land, our water, and our air, making themselves rich while we suffer the long-term health impacts and environmental destructions. These sites use toxic and carcinogenic chemicals that are linked to cancers, childhood leukemia, brain, liver, and kidney dysfunctions, infant mortality, and birth defects. And these chemicals are then released into our water through leaks of the wells, which are inevitable over the life of any well. And they are spreading these volatile chemicals directly on our roads, which contaminate our watersheds, like on purpose. They spread this volatile concoction onto our roads to help keep dust down and melt ice. They release these chemicals into our air to flare the well stacks, and these chemicals then become caught in our pockets of our own air with temperature inversions. According to facttracker.org, there are now 12,537 drilled unconventional wells in our state. And whenever I looked earlier today, there were 14,905 violations at unconventional well sites. This industry is not safe. It is not healthy, and it isn't even financially viable. The oil and gas industry required $20 billion of federal subsidies, and potentially more this year, each year, to even stay afloat. We deserve better than another toxic boom and bust industry like we've seen in our area. And for the record, New York and Maryland have both banned drilling statewide. Okay, but it doesn't even end with fracking. The gas that is extracted will be sent only 20 miles north of our county, of Allegheny County, where the Shell cracker plant will turn it into plastics while releasing more toxic chemicals linked to cancers, childhood leukemia, brain, liver, and kidney dysfunctions, birth defects, and infant mortality, right? And the kicker, there are 4 additional petrochemical plants just like this one that are planned for our Ohio River Valley over the next few years. How much can our area take? If this is something you care about, I encourage you to be loud and unrelenting. Contact your representatives at all government levels. Do what you are able in order to limit your dependency on plastics, and then take an additional step and another. Change needs to come from lawmakers, but we are also responsible for the purchases and demand that we create. I am going to share a document with you now, and it is a list of, I think, 153 or so actions that individuals and households can take to make intentional decisions and to lower our footprints. Yikes, I apologize. I am looking for this document. Oh, there it is. Let me just get this link. Let me share it in Zoom. Great. And hopefully you can open that up. And you can look at it at your own leisure. But at the bottom, there is a yellow box that reads resources. The last 2 on the list are commoncause.org and govtrack.us. Common Cause will allow you to find your local, state, and federal representatives, learn about the bills that they sponsor and the contributions that they receive. Govtrack.us will allow you to find and track legislation through Congress, and also provides an easy link to call or write to members of Congress. Okay, that is a lot of heavy information. Does anyone have any comments or questions at this time? No?
There are some questions posted in the chat. So the first question is from Diane Peterson, and she's asking, Ray, could you please discuss how your low waste lifestyle has needed to change or not during these times of COVID-19? I see many folks reverting back to disposables, thinking it is safer during this time. Thanks.
Yeah, so COVID-19 has not actually affected our household, I think, as much as it may have affected other households. Because so many of the things that we use are reusable, we haven't had to worry about running out of napkins or running out of toilet paper, because all of ours are reusable. For napkins, we use towels, washcloths. These are bamboo towels. I'll talk about those later. As far as going to the bathroom, we use a bidet and family cloth. We have felt it, we have noticed a difference in that now we are purchasing certain items in packaging. So now we're having to purchase our greens in packaging like this, whereas before we were able to purchase it loose and put it in a paper bag. Or our bulk stores, now we have to use their biodegradable bags, their compostable bags. Am I missing anything? I hope I answered your question, Diane.
Diane, I also have one recommendation that I was thinking a lot about. Some places are actually required to use disposable like silverware actually in restaurants that have opened up. So one option is to bring your own packages of silverware and maybe even Tupperware and such to your place where you're eating.
Yeah, that's something I do all the time, as Rhea well knows. But I was more interested. Actually, I'm advocating for people to just skip the shopping bags and go right into the cart, because I'm going to assume that everything outside of my home is contaminated. I think that's excuse me, the safest way to go. And thus, it really doesn't matter what happens to it until it gets to my home, and then I decontaminate it, because I have 3 compromised people in my family here. So basically, I'm advocating that people just skip the bags whatsoever, except of course I understand that you may need a bag to carry things from the bulk bins, but we really don't need produce bags at all, ever, frankly. And like I said, if it's in the store, consider it contaminated, because whether or not you put in a produce bag, it's been touched possibly by somebody, whether or not it's on the conveyor belt, it's contaminated. So I was just curious about your ways of going with it, but that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Then once it gets in your car, put in your bags, and then decontaminate when you get it home.
Yeah, we actually have been going into stores and swiping boxes off of the shelf, and that's what we will carry our groceries out in.
Yeah, similar thing. I just thought I keep my box in the car, and it just goes from the cart into the car. But yeah, great, thanks.
Well, prior to COVID, we used to take our own boxes in, but now we're just using empty boxes that they have lying around. Thank you, Diane.
And then one more question from the chat. Lauren asked, where are you still shopping bulk? Some places close their bulk sections.
We still shop at, first of all, we're very lucky that we had a very well-stocked pantry. Because we shop at the East End Food Co-op, we really, we go crazy whenever they have their 25% off bulk sales. And so we have just months that we can live off of. We might get a little tired of some items, but we could live for months without having to go there. But I think I had to go there for seasonings or something like that. We've bought a couple of things since then. And the East End Food Co-op has plastic bags, but they are actually compostable. And they aren't industrially compostable. They are industrially compostable, but they're even able to break down in your backyard compost. So that's what we have been purchasing. Luckily, we haven't had to make too many of those purchases.
And we just have a comment from someone too who from Lizardo, and one key item that they mention is to the possibility of choosing whether or not someone has kids due to the high carbon footprint for people in the U.S. I think it depends where you are. I actually just heard a podcast about this that talked about the science. So I just want to mention, since that comment was there, that it actually depends where you live. If you're someone who is really living a carbon heavy, you have a heavy carbon footprint in your family, then that impact will go accordingly. But for folks, for example, who are especially in other countries where they're really just living off the land, their impact is basically it's not even counting in there. So previously there was a big push to and focus on the overpopulation. However, recently it's been found out that overpopulation isn't actually the problem. It's really just consumption. So people even in our current society, if they live with a low consumption lifestyle, they can sustainably have children if that's the concern about footprint?
I think you answered that beautifully. Yes. Yes, it is all about consumption. And it tends to go along with socioeconomic statuses, being those that have the higher carbon footprints with the higher rate of consumption. So yes.
Yeah, and this is Sean. I feel like everyone's on their own path in terms of making those choices. So maybe we could we appreciate comments, but kind of transition back to Rhea's presentation.
Okay, there will be plenty of other opportunities to ask more questions too. So yeah, I like that idea. Let's move on. And let's start with some show and tell. Let's see. I think I'm going to start with stuff on this counter. We already talked a little bit about our napkin and paper towel situation. This is what we use instead of single-use paper items. I wanted to talk about these bamboo paperless towels. I was super excited about them. They look like paper towels. They're washable, but I will tell you that they are not super absorbent, which I find very disappointing. And also, as you wash them, they become very thin and just very worn. So I actually don't know how old these are. Do you?
I don't.
These are probably 2 years old, but we also don't use them very often. We generally opt for these. Once we use these all up, I don't think we'll be getting any more. They do have their purposes. I use them to remove my makeup if I wear makeup, but yeah, I feel like anything else we can just use a washcloth or a towel of some sort. Ooh, this is fun. This is what we do as an alternative to single-use gift wrapping. It's just a pillowcase. You can also use a scarf. I am going to gift up my wonderful box of hair tea ingredients, just to show how nice this can be. I like to make a little swirly on top. Sometimes they end up looking like a bow. Sometimes they end up looking like a rose. Oh, this one turned out into a bit of a rose. And then I would just hand that to the person. Quite honestly, we don't do much gift giving. More than anything, we gift experiences. We gift quality time. Some of my favorite gifts to give as well as receive is just really heartfelt messages and words. So if we have a gift to give, typically we don't give it on a special occasion, because why bother holding that joy off for the special occasion? Let's enjoy it now. And it doesn't really need to be wrapped. Let's see, let's look over here. These are our Luffa sponges. We use these instead of plastic sponges, like those yellow plastic sponges. They are made out of zucchinis. This is a cut zucchini. I mean, they're all cut, but this one's worn down a little bit. They start out quite firm and then they become more soft with use. This was a Luffa zucchini that we grew last year in our garden. However, they get to be much, much longer like this. I have a link that I will share about where you can, I'll share all these later, about where you can buy these in Pittsburgh, and I think without packaging as well. They're already, what's the word, skinned, and they have already taken the seeds out here. You hear those seeds? All right. Anyway, so you can reuse these many, many times. You, if you're worried about bacteria, you toss it in some boiling water for 10 minutes to disinfect it, and you're good to keep going. We get, I don't know, a couple months out of one.
Yeah.
And then at the end of its life, like this, it's ready for compost. Because it's a vegetable, right? That's it. So that's ready for compost. No waste. Let's see. Here is some chapstick that I make. I made some for my mom. I think my mom's still on there. She said she liked it. I have a recipe that I will be happy to share with you. I also discussed some different oils that you may want to, waxes that you may want to consider that I feel have a smaller footprint and less ethical issues behind them. This is dry shampoo, and it is a lifesaver. If you have light colored hair, it is one ingredient. It is cornstarch. If you are brunette, you can add cinnamon and cocoa powder like I have, just to tint it. Super easy peasy. Toss it in a salt shaker, you're ready to go. Also, arrowroot is another active ingredient that you could use instead of cornstarch. Let's see. Have anything over here? Okay. Oh, this is hair teas. Hair care products going on here. Ugh. These are some of the ingredients that I use: horsetail, fenugreek, licorice root. This is a tablet. I don't know. This is the tea, but I freeze it so that it will last a long time, you know, so that it doesn't go bad before I use it. I will take a plastic cup that I've had for I don't even know how long, and put it in that, and then I add warm water to it whenever I'm ready to use it, and I'll put my hair in it. I use plastic because I don't want to take glass into a slippery shower. Anyway, so, and you put it on your roots after it's in its liquid form, and you just let it sit there for a while. I can discuss some more of this upstairs whenever we go check things out in the closet, but this is what I boiled down to create these. You can see there's some orange rind in there, all sorts of stuff. Mostly soap nuts and, I don't know how you pronounce it, shiitake, I don't know, this stuff. I mean, there are natural alternatives to pretty much everything, because what were people using for thousands and thousands of years before we decided to commercialize everything, right? So this is marshmallow root that is boiled down very similarly to this. And this is what I can use to make a detangler. There's also slippery elm that you can use. This is flaxseed gel. It's frozen because I want it to stay, you know, oh, it smells so good. I freeze it in between because I don't want it to go bad. But I just set it out before my shower, and then it's thawed enough for me to use it like regular hair gel. It works really well whenever I'm trying to like curl my hair a little bit. You know how you plot? It's great. Same thing, you just put these whole flax seeds in water and you just boil the heck out of them, and then you strain it. That's all of that. This is our homemade cleaner. Super easy again. It's orange peels and distilled white vinegar. And I will be sharing some of the science behind that either on a link, or maybe I shared it on the document that I already sent you. I don't know. It's written down somewhere why those work and how they actually do clean your house. One note that is worthy to be mentioned is do not use it on your granite countertops or any other natural stone. It will eat through it and it will etch it. So for our countertops, we just use our plant-based soap instead. Let's see, our trash. We talked about our trash? Yeah, this is 5 weeks of trash. That's what it looks like. Our current, I think that's everything on here. Our current trash can situation is right here. People want to see it in the live. These are our bags that are ready to be used again. Let's see, the chip bags are actually able to be recycled through TerraCycle, so I'm probably going to hold on to those for last. I might actually decide to try that program out. Otherwise, there are bread bags. Our dog has to unfortunately be on a special diet. That is not eco-friendly. So we have quite a few of those bags, and I hate getting these mailers. At least the ones that are all plastic can be recycled through store drop-offs like Target or Giant Eagles. The grocery stores around here have them, but these, it's paper and plastic and you can't do anything with it. So this will make a fantastic trash bag for us. I don't know how long this trash has been going for, but we used to put dates on them, but this one doesn't have one. Looks like it's getting pretty full though. Let's maybe talk about water right next door. This is our under-the-counter water system, filtration system. It's called Woder, W-O-D-E-R. And the entire setup cost us about $200. It was $40 for, or excuse me, it was $60 for our faucet. It was $40 to pay a gentleman to come in and drill a hole in our granite. And then the part that you see underneath the sink was $100. It took Josh 2 hours, 1 hour? How long did it take you to install it? 2 hours. 2 hours. This filter will last 10,000 gallons or 3 years.
Credits to your dad.
To my dad helped?
Yes, he did.
This filter will last 10,000 gallons, which is about 3 years. I did the math on that, and compared to someone that would be purchasing those 10,000 gallons in bottled form, we will be saving $13,000 over those 10,000 gallons. I'll take the $200 investment. And this filter gets rid of 99.9% of chromium-6, mercury. I can't think of all the heavy metals and contaminants. We live downstream from the Chesapeake Power Plant, which they're not very responsible in their waste management skills. So after I learned about that, we rushed out and we bought something for our home. Moving on, we have tea. And a French press up here. You can see that. We bought that bad boy for $2 at Goodwill. We used to have a Keurig, and we would use the reusable pods, but it kept being kind of odd flavored. And no matter how much we would clean it and clean it and clean it, it just wouldn't get this flavor away. Finally, Josh tore it apart. I mean, totally tore it apart. And in the very innermost innards of it, there was mold. And so we just decided to get rid of it, and we decided that we didn't want to deal with fancy coffee machines anymore of any kind. So luckily this $2 French press came our way, and we are happy as clams. Also, to-go container, right? Your to-go mug. Here's our hot one. Here's our cold one. Teas. I love having tea, and I love having bulk tea. You can create your own blends. My favorite currently is, we call it Holy Pepper Spears. It's holy basil, peppermint, and spearmint, and it's refreshing and relaxing, and it's just amazing. I have quite a few other types in there. Tea balls, lots of different kinds of tea balls. Oh, I think this is really interesting. We have these left over from before we started buying our tea in bulk. And did you know that there is plastic in the actual tea bags? I forget what the percentage is, but it's a very high percentage of companies that use plastic tea bags instead of natural tea bags. This is Red Rose, and I believe, I've looked them up, I believe that they do use natural. So whenever we finish up with these, we'll cut off the top because it has a little staple in it, and then the rest of this gets tossed into the compost. But look at this, look at all this waste. You can't do anything with that. And then, you know, inside, I don't know what the bag's made out of either. So just comparing the two of those, it makes me feel good. So we mentioned the East End Food Co-op and the sales that they have. We go through a lot of peppermint in our house. And whenever they have a sale, we stock up and we will just buy a full pound of it. This is how the co-op receives it. They have these big packages and then they pour it into their containers that you put into your containers to take home, right? So whenever there's a sale, we just bulk up and buy a pound. We'll also be buying pepper and probably garlic powder this way. We go through those. Our seasonings are similarly, all these are refills. Diane brought to-goes whenever I am going, there it is. Whenever I am running errands and I think that there's even maybe a slight chance that I am going to be eating while I'm out, or even if I don't think I'm going to be eating while I'm out, because guess what, plans change and sometimes I do. I always take this. It's not a big deal to toss it into whatever tote I'm carrying. But if I know I'm going to eat, then I absolutely take some to-go containers because I much rather have them and not need them than not have them and need them. I like these because they nest. They all fit beautifully in my tote that I take. If there's a potluck, then this is what we take. We bought these retail, but these blue ones are so cool. And we found them at an antique shop locally. And I'll tell you what, I love them. You don't have to worry about dropping them or hitting anything with, I mean, you know, they're super durable. So they're perfect for traveling. They're perfect for taking to potlucks. I think that's it down here. I think that's it in our kitchen. I will send you these recipes, but let's see. I need to put these back and then we're gonna go grocery shopping. We kind of already touched on this. But there's more. Whenever we go grocery shopping, we like to take our own boxes. And more specifically, we like to choose boxes that nest inside each other. So this is what we would take into the store. I've got my mason jars to fill up, or if I'm taking a cloth bag or public transportation, I might take these because they're so much lighter and don't take up as much room. By the way, we've had these for years, and one of these days they are no longer going to be able to be useful to us, at which time I would love to replace them with metal ones, but it is very important to me that they nest. So if anyone has any leads on nesting metal containers, please let me know. I'm super interested. Diane also spoke about how she doesn't feel like produce bags are ever needed. And quite frankly, I mean, I agree. But it is kind of convenient to have them sometimes. Or like if you're buying Brussels sprouts or green beans, they're really helpful. These are reused from, I don't know, oranges or onions or something like that. So we put our produce in there. Now, if we're going to the co-op, it's fantastic because they don't require you to like take all of your food out and put it on the conveyor belt. We can just take our box and put it on the conveyor belt. And then we will take this box and put it on the other side of the register. And they will take it out of one box, send it over to me, I'll put it in this box. Take it out, and I'll put it in this box. And it is just so much easier. Other stores prefer you to put it on the conveyor, and that's fine, whatever. It still serves its purpose, having two nesting boxes. Also, I love boxes because the amount of food that you could fit in here would probably be 3 totefuls. Meanwhile, I'm able to just pick it up and go You know, it's much easier to manage, I think. Also, if I'm putting it in my car, it's stable and it's not going to be rolling around like soft-sided bags would be. So I find that my produce comes home with a lot less bruising too. Did I forget anything about shopping? Okay, fantastic. Since we just went shopping, I think we should check out the pantry. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take over here. Great. So this is our pantry, and you can see our bulk items over here. I personally love it. It's super easy to organize. It's a better use of space, I think, and quite frankly, it's visually appealing. We do have additional ones in the deep freezer. Like I said, whenever we go shopping and we get big deals, we like to stock up. These are quart containers. These are half-gallon containers. We have quite a few of these also in our basement, more specifically in our freezer, because we just want to make sure that they just don't become too warm while they're down in our basement. So easy to find what you want. Rather than all these boxes, right, that you have to look at the label and, oh, what color does the box say? What color was the box that I bought this time for that product? Just look. You want chickpeas? Boom, there they are. You want black lentils? Boom, there they are, you know? Great. Okay, but there's a lot more to this pantry. It's not all that fantastic, so here's the rest of it. And also there is some hidden plastic in here. There's also some obvious plastics in here, but there's hidden plastics. And if you see the hidden plastics, please holler out. Let me know what they are whenever you see them. There's some obvious plastics, our tortilla chip bag, but hopefully, like I said, I might be participating in that recycling program for TerraCycle. You can check that out on your own time. And grape nuts, that's also not, you know, very zero waste either, is it? But in a perfect world, that box would be able to be recycled, and so would the inside bag. Remember, I was telling you about Target and Giant Eagle accepting plastic films. The cereal bags from, the bags from cereals that also are able to be taken in those. Bubble wrap and clean cling wrap are also accepted in those. Anybody find the hidden plastic?
Maybe in the lining of the cans.
Yes, 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 absolutely. It's so easy to forget that there's plastic in there. Yep, you got it.
I think there was a container of nuts maybe that was plastic.
Oh, I think you're talking about these. Are chilies maybe? Oh, there they are. Yeah, that's definitely some plastic in there. The hidden plastic I was thinking more about were these Terra packs. Is that what they're called? Tetra packs, Terra packs, with our broth in them. They are cardboard covered in plastic and very difficult to recycle. I know they're not recyclable in our area. That's some hidden plastic. And the other thing I was thinking about was these Kool-Aid packages. You know, I don't even know how old these are. Does Kool-Aid go bad? I don't know. I don't know either. So that's that. Does anyone have any questions or anything about our pantry? Or anything else that we talked about, I guess.
I can go over any questions. So one was, what do people do with lemon peels? I live in an apartment, so I don't have a compost.
Yeah, you can make this using any kind of citrus peel, and it'll have the same benefits as the orange does. Trying to think of other things. You also could use it in the hair tea. I don't really know otherwise. If you want to be creative, you could cut them into like little stars or hearts or something and let them dry, and use them as kind of a fun potpourri. That's all I got. But if you look up DIY recipes with lemon, I guarantee you'll probably be able to find something that that interests you.
Yeah, and there's also some recommendations for candied citrus peels that are tasty. I've had those two, very good. And then there's a question about community compost programs as well that are in Pittsburgh.
What is the question about the community composting?
Are there any community compost programs in or near Pittsburgh?
Okay, community composting, I do not know. I think I would look for community gardens would probably be likely places to find community composting. There are places that you can use that aren't necessarily like community based. There's Shady Side Worms in Shady Side. You set your compost out, they pick it up, they send it through their worms, and they provide you with X amount of soil every season. There's also AgroCycle. They do industrial composting, which is great because there are a lot of plastics out there that say that they're compostable, but they're only industrially compostable. So we can't do anything with them in our backyards, compost. But someplace like AgroCycle, also, Kyle Winkler, I cannot think of the name of his business though, but he also does composting. It's interesting. This is something that we started talking about in our Wrangler. Yeah, he's like the zero waste Wrangler, but or composting Wrangler, something like that. But he has a company, and I can't think of the name of his company. Right. So our Parks and Rec board is considering. We're starting to look into this and to see if composting could be a viable thing that we bring to Verona. So.
Sweet. And there's a question from Sean about Xenia in the East End Food Cop. Like, where can you find it?
Oh, I think I bought these online a long time ago, right? Well, long time ago, probably 2 years ago, I bought these online. I don't think these were at the food co-op, were they?
I don't believe so. I think those were online.
Yeah, I think these were online. Yeah. But Sean, if you need some, there's plenty in here, and I use so little. I mean, I've made hair tea 3 times with this already, and it still is good to go. So, like, I have some to spare if you would like some. Okay. Are we caught up on questions for now?
Yep, we're good to go. The next thing, thank you.
Great. The next thing is nut milk. And this was our first go at making a video, and it was an experience. Hello friends, Eco Warriors and the Eco Curious. My name is Rhea, and today we're going to talk about oat milk, and more importantly, how to make oat milk. You are going to need 1 part oatmeal to 4 parts water. Some sort of sweetener, dates or maple syrup are good options. I have chosen dates. A little bit of salt to enhance flavor. And I like to add a little cinnamon to mine because I'm wild. You're also going to need a blender, something to blend it with, and something to strain it with. So let's get started. I like to use a wide mouth mason jar to make ours, which only gives us 4 cups to work with. So I'm going to add 3/4 cups, 3 cups of water. Gonna add a date for a little sweetness. A little bit of salt. And cinnamon. Just eyeball it, whatever you think you want. Vanilla flavoring, vanilla extract could also be a good option if you wanted to add a little extra flavor and sweetness. I'm going to give it a good shake, and we're going to put it in the fridge between 15 minutes, no longer than 4 hours. You do want it to be slightly chilled so that whenever you pop it in your blender, it doesn't get warm. If it does get warm, you're going to end up with kind of slimy milk, and we don't want that. 15 minutes is a good amount of time to make sure that your oats soak in well enough. And anything more than 4 hours, I have found, again, it gives you a little bit of a slimy texture. So we'll just pop these in the fridge, and we will check up on them in 15 minutes. See ya! Hi everyone, it's been over 15 minutes. It's been closer to about half an hour. Let's see where we are. Ooh, yeah, check out how murky that is. That is the makings of some good oat milk. Let's blend. We had a couple stragglers, so there we go. I'm just gonna blend for 30 or 40 seconds. There's really no science to it. I don't even know what setting I do. I just kind of mix it up. So let's see what happens. All right, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds. We're gonna need our strainer. Quite a bit of pulp in there, so let's just work it through. All right. I like to send it through a second time, just for good measure. Looking pretty good though, huh? All right, that's been another 40 seconds. Let's see how it turned out. Oh yeah. There it's going, it's moving. Let's move that pulp out of the way and make it easier for it to smoothly go through the strainer. And then we're going to be left with some oat pulp. And in our kitchen, I don't like to let too much go to waste if I can help it. So we're going to have some oat pulp left over. And I'm going to put it with some other oat pulps from previous batches of oat milk that we've made. I'm saving up so that I can make some sort of baked good later. Maybe I'll make some crackers, or maybe some muffins or some cookies. We'll see. All right. This will find its way back into the freezer so that we can make something delicious with it later. Just gonna pop over to the sink for a second so that I can rinse off these bits of oat. There we go, perfect. We're gonna juggle our water so that we can send it through our cheesecloth this time. All right. I'm using cheesecloth, but this will probably be easier with a nut milk bag. A nut milk bag is enclosed on all the sides except for the top, and you can kind of be a little more aggressive with it. You can gather it at the top and squeeze through and strain it a lot more quickly. But we're just gonna let gravity work its magic here. And if you do not have cheesecloth on hand, you can always use any type of clean cloth that is rather tightly woven. A clean t-shirt would even suffice, honestly. One of my favorite things about making oat milk is that it's so incredibly low waste. Not to mention super cheap. I mean, we're gonna save $3, $4, $5 depending on the brand, just by spending less than 10 minutes of hands-on time making this. But look at this. Our oats, our dates, and our cinnamon all came from a bulk shop. Shout out to East End Food Co-op. And you don't have to worry about the waste that you generate by buying it pre-processed from the grocery store. A lot of times those plastic covered cardboard cartons that it comes in, they're not very often recyclable, right? Look at this is working great. All right, we are just gonna kind of give it a gentle squeeze to finish it on up. Make sure that we've caught any of that excess pulp in here. Ah, that looks good, all right. Just gonna balance that there. See what we're left with. Looks pretty good to me. Tastes pretty good too. So since we didn't add any preservatives, we're only going to have a shelf life in the fridge for about 4 or 5 days. You can always make a larger batch if you would like to though, and freeze it. If you do decide to freeze it or make a larger batch, just remember that your ratio is 1 part oatmeal to 4 parts water. Let's go ahead and add today's date. And it's ready to be put into the fridge. Whenever you pull it back out, if it's had time to sit a little while, don't be alarmed. If there's a little bit of separation, that's completely normal. Just shake it up, go about with your business. It can be used in every way that the stuff that you buy at the grocery store can be used. You can just drink it straight, use it in your cereal, put in your coffee, use it for baking, whatever you like. Thanks so much for joining me and talking oat milk. I hope that you've learned a little something for yourself, and I hope that you decide to give it a whirl. Live kindly, live gently, and be well. That's great. Thank you everyone for all of your patience. I really appreciate it. I think we should go outside and talk about some compost. We actually have some right here. Do you want to go dump it out?
Sure.
All right. There you go. It is 2:30. Hi, Ferdies. So we actually started out with this one composter right here. We bought it used for $50, but very quickly we ended up overfilling it, and it doesn't turn into compost very quickly if it's overfilled. So we had to build this bad boy, and we actually had this plastic fencing from our property that we pulled off, and then we had to buy the garden fabric. You can see we have a lot of yard waste in here right now.
Needs to be mixed.
All right. Anything you want to say about composting? Obviously, no animal products. You have to be careful about the amount of citrus you can add. Also, no, be mindful to also add. We shouldn't have put these seeds in there. They're an invasive species, I believe. Chris will probably be able to tell us more about that. But I put them in there in haste, so I probably not really have any smell from it. It kind of takes care of itself. We also don't really have any animals bothering us.
Right. They're pretty easy to maintain. Of course, in warmer weather, things are going to break down easier. It may be mixed, which is a little bit of effort. Some backyard composters are the roll type, so they're much easier to handle. But yeah.
Use a shovel to do that? To mix it?
I use a shovel to do this, yeah. This one has a lot of sticks in it, so it's a lot more difficult, but yeah, it's not too bad.
Fantastic. All right, thank you, Josh. And here we have our garden, raised bed gardens that we've been working on. We're gonna have some strawberries over here. Fantastic. All right. Work our way back in. We are going to check out the bathroom. We're going to try to breeze through some stuff a little more quickly because we are running low on time. So as I said, we have a bidet. The way it works is you finish your business, you pull the lever. There's actually a little nozzle that comes down whenever it's ready to spray. I can't demonstrate it, otherwise we will end up wet. So then you're wet and you need to dry off somehow. That is where our family cloths come into play. So the bidet gets the bulk off, and then you just dry off with these. Whenever they're dirty, we switch them out for clean ones. We keep ours separate colors so we know whose assumes. And whenever I wash them, I pre-treat them and then just wash them in a typical, normal cycle, just like you would manage cloth diapers. I have this bottle in here because I wanted to show an even more conscientious option is something that I would already have had, right? And what's special about this one is it has a side opening, so it makes it nice for aiming, I guess you could say. One of the benefits of, actually there are two benefits of this that I could see. One is that it's reused, it was already produced, I'm reusing it, and the second is that you can fill it with warm water. Ours is cold, you can buy them with warm, but I don't see really the point, and quite frankly, it doesn't really bother me. Also, ours took a lot more resources to create, but I do figure that it is a lifetime appliance, I guess, that we're going to have, so that's that. Go ahead and check out about the boreal forests and how our demand of toilet paper and other single-use paper product goods are really destroying a really unique and important ecosystem. So I was going to get into that, but I don't really have a lot of time. I think instead we should maybe go downstairs. And we're going to check out the basement. We have gates everywhere so that everything's ferret-proof whenever we let our ferrets out. check out this mountain. I don't know if anybody knew about this, but Josh and I were heading up this program through Trex. Remember I mentioned Trex with Target and Giant Eagle when they turn plastics and wood into building supplies, building materials. Over here, these are ones that we have not processed yet. There's about 500 pounds over here that we still have to sort through and then compress and bag. These over here, we already did that with. And here's actually 500 pounds too, or thereabouts. This one's definitely around 500 pounds. This one is an estimation. So what happens with the next Trex, here, actually you can look at this, is that we collect these plastics and they'll turn them into the materials. And since we're a community doing this, the challenge is that we have to gather 500 pounds within 6 months. This was 6 months for our tiny community, and we actually already turned in 500 pounds. So we totaled 1,500 pounds in 6 months. So that means that we earned ourselves a community bench. I think I described this all backwards, but we earned ourselves a community bench because we met that challenge. Interestingly, we are going to participate in the challenge 2 more times because we have another bench worth over here and a third bench worth over here. But since you can only earn 1 bench per 6-month period, we're kind of just housing these down here until we can start the program back up again. Actually, COVID is why we haven't started the next program back up again. But any community can start this. Schools can participate, businesses can participate. They don't earn a bench though, they get paid, they get reimbursed for it, businesses do. A local key club could do it. I mean, any organization could participate in this. This is Josh's domain. If you would like more information about Trex and how you can get things started, feel free to ask away. I'd be happy to field some questions.
So we all know that curbside recycling just doesn't work. The success rate of curbside recycling to collect your recyclables that you put in the bin to put it back into the recycle stream is very, very low success. It's very likely going to landfill every single time. So we have been we've been collecting our recyclables, and we're going to take them ourselves to places that we know that will have a higher success of being recycled. So honestly, over the past 6 months, this is actually probably more than 6 months of recycling for us. And to be fair, we did, like, as we go through the Trex stuff, we do find people's, like we don't use water bottles. We don't buy Coke products and stuff in bottles, but we find a lot of that stuff in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have it organized. These are ones, like your bottles, jugs. Some of these ones, unfortunately, we do buy berries. These clamshells are not accepted, I believe. Recycling facilities, even the ones in Pittsburgh, only want your the bottles, jugs. So we're kind of holding on to those to see if we can find another source that will take them. Hopefully they won't be in trash in the future, but we're holding out for that one. 2s and 5s.
Not the styrofoam.
Not the styrofoam. Those are 6s. Styrofoam can be taken to one place in Pittsburgh. It's down on the south side. I don't exactly know the address or the name of the place, but if you do a search, it does come up, and I have taken styrofoam there. Styrofoam packaging. I don't think they can take styrofoam restaurant clamshell things. 2s and 5s, we can take to
Protohaven.
Protohaven accepts those, and they will be chopped down and ground down at their facility. I think it's close to the co-op, actually. And they will be 100% recycled. Of course, when we have glass, and we have our metals. Glass, we will take our personal
Curbside.
Our curbside does not accept glass, so we actually end up taking ours to City of Pittsburgh. Construction, like right outside Construction Junction is one of the drop-offs. You can take glass there. Metals, we like to take to the scrapyard. They will take many more different types of metals than any curbside recycling will take. You can actually get some money for it, potentially. And what else on that note?
We turned in Teflon pans.
Yeah, we did turn in Teflon pans, Teflon coated pans. That was a surprise. We actually got like $7 for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Okay.
So.
Great.
Yeah, that's our recycling.
Okie dokie.
I think Sabrina asked which scrapyard do you all use?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I think Sabrina asked in the chat which scrapyard do you use?
We've used AAA in the Strip District before, but I think we're also going to try one closer to us that we just learned about in Penn Hills.
This is our electric vehicle. It is a Tesla. We actually charge here at home. We have a wall charger that is powered. We pay for our power source. Our electricity comes from community energy, which is wind and solar, local wind and solar. You can change your supplier, yeah, on papowerswitch.gov.
I don't know.
I'm not sure which one it is.
PA Power Switch.
PA Power Switch.
It's actually listed on the list of 153 things. So the resource is in that page.
Correct. Okay. What are some things?
We will hopefully be getting solar panels at some point, and then 100% we will be able to charge our vehicle. From cradle to grave, electric cars have been found to be more, have a smaller impact. Quite frankly, they are a lot of fun. With the name Tesla, you think things are really expensive, and I mean, any new car is not cheap, but we were surprised that it is actually comparable. The base model starts out at $34,000, and the Nissan Leaf starts out at $31,500. So, yeah. Oh, this is our garden. We have a bunch of native plants. I have some catnip taking over. And Chris, I know that you're big into plants, and I have a lot of questions for you. We have some native plants that we'll be adding in. We have recently applied for a certification as a wildlife habitat, even though we live in this town. You have to provide food, shelter, water, and be diligent about invasive species, removing invasive plant species, and trying to really nurture native growth in your property. Unfortunately, we've been doing quite a bit of work back here, so everything's a mess. We also have some, we have bird feeders, some water for birds. We are also planting milkweed for pollinators, but I received these for my last birthday, some pollinator houses and a bat house, and I cannot wait to put this on. There's some rules about how and where you can place a bat box. Oh my gosh, you can't even see, sorry. How and where you can place a bat box so that you are most likely to get some bats which I am super excited for us to do. Okay. Let's see, let's move on upstairs. I'd like to be very mindful of your time. How long do you generally take at the end to wrap up?
It really depends. Sometimes I'd say maybe about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, but we're honestly happy to have you continue. This is super interesting. So feel free to keep on going. We're happy to have you.
I can do that. Okay, wonderful. If you decide that we need to just stop, please let us know. I will keep going though. So this is our hygiene area, I guess. I don't really know. Let's see, we have our rags that we spoke about before, bamboo rags. Let's look in here. Oh, this is our cotton balls and Q-tips. We never use them. Typically, we're able to use a rag or a reusable Q-tip instead. I have used a cotton ball recently. One of our ferrets needed a wound tended to, so I definitely opted for a cotton ball because I wanted to make sure that it was sterile while I was tending to that. In here, we have our toothpastes and such. We still use regular toothpaste tubes. I haven't felt super confident in changing to any tabs.
We tried powders.
Oh, we did try a powder.
Yeah.
It was okay.
They were okay, yeah.
It was okay. It was very expensive, I thought.
And it even came in a little plastic thing, so.
Oh, that's right. It did come in plastic. So what's the point in that, we thought. So
Right.
As far as making our own, I do not feel comfortable doing that. Read a lot of stories about people harming their teeth using too much baking soda, and I just don't have enough information to DIY our own. So we've been opting for stuff that you can buy at the grocery store. I do like Tom's. It is vegan. It is quite sustainable, and they also participate in TerraCycle. Whenever you're done with it, whenever you think it's empty, don't forget to cut off the top. Colgate's bad. Don't use Colgate. They're a bad company. Don't forget to don't forget to cut off the top, and then you can probably get like 6, 8 more servings in there. I mean, you paid for this product, and you know. Anyway, all right. We also have bamboo toothbrushes, and these came in a cardboard box with smaller cardboard boxes inside with bamboo toothbrushes. These are fantastic. I think my mom got these for me for Christmas, something like that. However, are you all familiar with the term greenwashing? Oh, great. Okay, so greenwashing is whenever advertisers like to use the word eco-friendly or green or environmentally friendly, what have you, because it sells more products that way. It's a very trendy term right now. So I just wanted to share an experience that was shared with me, that there was a woman who I think I don't remember what, Amazon, she worked at a company that distributes whatever people buy. So her job was to take these bamboo toothbrushes that were in a cardboard box, but inside the cardboard box, the bamboo toothbrush was covered in a plastic bag. So her job was to individually take each toothbrush out, remove the plastic bag, throw it away, put the toothbrush back in there, and then send it off to the consumer. And it really irks me that companies actually do these kind of things. And that doesn't stop the plastic from having the environmental impact that it did. It's just, anyway, I just wanted to share that things aren't always as cut and dry as they appear to be. This is our deodorant that I really love, Apothecary Muse. I super duper highly recommend this company. It is a local company. I think that they are located in Point Breeze. They have several different vegan items, soaps, deodorant, lip balm, salves, things like that. I use the advanced one, and here's what's so special about it. The advanced one actually takes care of sweat related to anxiety, and it has a different makeup to it. You know, that kind of sweat has a different makeup to it, and they've taken that into account in the ingredients. So I just want to highly recommend that if you think that you're a big sweater, or especially if you recognize that you have anxiety sweats, this advanced from Apothecary Muse really works amazingly. I was really skeptical because it's such a teeny tiny little thing, but I first tried these out during the Vegan Expo, which was, I don't know when that was.
November, I think.
November?
Yeah.
And I still have half a tube left in the one that I currently use. So, I mean, I'm on my way for this to last me a whole year. Phenomenal. Great. Let's see. We don't use razors anymore. There are things, there are razors out there now that are just like metal handles, and you change out the metal blade like they used to do in, I don't know, the olden days of some time. And you swap out the blade, or you could probably even sharpen the blade if you wanted to, and then you pop it back in and you're ready to go again. This is just kind of left over from the days that we used to use these. Otherwise, I actually prefer to trim my hair, or not, because I don't mind my natural beauty. Let's talk about more products. These are from, actually, let's talk about those afterwards. Next in here, we have some sage bundles. You use these to smudge. I recently learned that the demand for sage bundles has actually been causing a lot of environmental damage just because our demand is so great. So I will no longer be purchasing these, and instead I have an area of just a whole bunch of sage that I'm going to grow this summer, and hopefully we'll be able to make some of our own sage bundles, keeping it sustainable. Here's some soap that we use. Of course, it's vegan. We get it at the co-op. I'm very pleased with the ingredients that it lists in here. It doesn't have any palm oil either, because you will not find palm oil in this house, I don't think.
We try.
Yeah, we try.
We try hard.
We try hard. I buy them individually. The co-op sells them in packs of 3, but if you buy them in a pack of 3, then they have that darn plastic over top, so we spend the extra 20 cents and we buy them individually, 20 cents per every 3. Here is a really cool company. Again, it's another local company. It is called Pip and Lola, and this is their packaging. How cool is this? They have a lot of vegan soaps, like a lot of vegan soaps, and I love this flavor: rosemary, eucalyptus, cinnamon, lemon, clove. Super highly recommend it. Pip and Lola's is actually located in Munhall, and I can still smell it. It's so good. And I don't need this packaging anymore. I just haven't been able to bring myself to get rid of it because, I don't know, I guess I'm a bit of a pack rat tendencies every now and again. Let's move on to makeup. I very rarely wear makeup anymore. It's bad. It's a poor use of plastic. It uses a lot of plastic. Oftentimes it's not ethical, and it has so many chemicals in it. And I think I really stopped using it whenever I learned about mica, which is a mineral that makes things shiny. And there are a lot of ethical, environmental, as well as social issues with this. Mica mines primarily employ child and slave labor. So wanted to bring that to your attention in case there were some folks that weren't aware of that. Okay. But I do wish that I had a more sustainable type of mascara, and I haven't tried it yet, but I learned this recipe from B. Johnson. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she is like a queen of zero waste solutions, and she has this recipe that she makes using burnt almonds. So I'll probably try that someday. We'll see how that goes. These are my reusable menstrual pads. You could also use a cup. I just haven't tried one yet. Again, I got mine at the co-op, but man, you can get them on Etsy. Anybody that sews could just make their own. But this brand is Glad Rags, and I recommend it. They have different levels, you know, for your flow, and you just kind of treat them the same way as cloth diapers. You can use hydrogen peroxide in order to get any liquids out that you need to break down before you wash them. I do put them in a lingerie bag and put them on the delicate cycle if I'm in a rush and I don't feel like doing them by hand. Okay, done with those. Let's move on to Lush. And I fought Lush for the longest time because I figured it's just a big company and I was worried about greenwashing, and we went in there and I was just very skeptical whenever I was speaking to the person who helped us. And I was asking them all these questions about their glitter and making sure that it was like ethically sourced mica, because their glitter is mica based rather than plastic based. Because if it were plastic based, I wouldn't want anything to do with it, especially whenever it's something you're directly putting down your shower drain. Okay, so this is where we buy shampoos from and lotions from and other hair care products. They have a lot of products though, and I think 340 of them are vegan. So if you haven't checked them out, you might want to. It smells amazing. It's lemon. It's very, very harsh cleanser though. I don't recommend this unless you have extremely oily hair. My hair is just not oily enough for this, so I don't know if I'll be using this again. It might work for your hair, perhaps?
Yeah, mine's quite oily.
Yeah. And then I love their packaging. Things either come with no packaging or packaging which is just a wrapper, right? This one is an avocado conditioning wash. And then this is something that you put on your hair to smooth out flyaways. And their lotion, while it comes in plastic, this is the type of plastic that I can actually get on board with. So first of all, Charity Pot is fantastic. They put, I think, 100% of all the profits from this, this type, the Charity Pot, to whatever charity or organization is listed on the top. So this one is Waterlution, which is about getting water solutions for the Great Lakes. These are also done in small batch and by hand. Okay, back to the plastic. What I love about this is not single-use plastic, and it's also not recycled afterwards. What they do is you use all your product, which is a fantastic product, by the way. You use it all up, and you return it to the store. And I think for every third or fifth one that you return to the store, you get some sort of item, like a product or something, for free. But I don't really care about that product. I'm just so excited that there is like a return on this packaging. I just think it's the greatest, and I think that a lot more companies need to follow suit. Let's move on to this row. These are the Q-tips that I was talking about. We've probably had these for about 2 years. We got them at CVS, I think. There were 6 in a pack. Good as new. This is the part that I use in my canal. I like to use this comb sort of part for the outside of my ears. That's that. They're okay. I mean, I probably would prefer a cushiony Q-tip filled with cotton, but I've been using these for 2 years, and I just don't want to use items and resources in single-use things. I can deal with this rather than wasting the resources. That's my personal stance on them. Shea oil, I put this in my, what's this stuff called? Chapstick. Oh, there's some chapstick that I had made. I'll be putting those into some containers, sticks that have been emptied, melting it down and putting it into the sticks so that I can carry it with me. I also use shea oil and jojoba, and is that how you say that? And grapeseed on my hair. Witch hazel, if you mix it with jojoba or grapeseed, makes a fantastic makeup remover. And this is actually one use that I have found that these bamboo paperless towels are useful for removing makeup. Hydrogen peroxide, important antiseptic, boric acid. I don't even know why I had that. Diatomaceous earth. I think I was using it to get rid of mites or something that was overtaking my garden. Vitamin E, I put some of that in this. I've had it for a long time and I don't take it anymore, so I've just started, oh, not that. Although you could put it in that would be good for it too. I mean the chapstick. Slippery elm and marshmallow root both cause this like really, it's just slippery. I don't know how else to describe it. This slippery texture whenever you boil them, so they're great for detangling. Rye flour, I haven't used rye flour for a long time and I probably should. You can use rye flour instead of shampooing your hair. I find it easiest if you add it to your hair dry first and then step into the shower. That way you can put it on your scalp, place it intentionally where you want it, and then you can add the water and just move it around. But this is really nice, but you have to be careful. You can only use it like once a month or something like that. Otherwise, you can get too much protein in your hair, which causes it to get really brittle, and that's a bad thing. This is activated charcoal. I actually haven't used it. I think I was going to make myself some mascara, and there are a lot of other uses for it too. This did come from the co-op, this brand. But yeah, I haven't opened it yet. We'll see what becomes of that later. Don't mind those. That was before I knew anything about oils or cared anything. They're kind of useless now. This is a really cool brand, really cool product. I had this at the last meeting that I had with Pittsburgh Vegan Society, and it's vegan, very low waste floss. So this is made out of bamboo and charcoal that's been turned into a floss. And it comes in a cool glass jar with a cool metal lid.
What's the brand?
Lucky Teeth. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I can't do it while people are watching me, but if you need a refill, this is how the refills come. I just ordered a refill whenever I bought the floss itself. And no plastic in there. I definitely checked. Let's see, I think that's about it for here. Rag that, an old shirt, of course, that we're turning into a rag. Good use for old socks or mismatched socks is a rice sock. Put it in the heater, put it in the microwave or the freezer. You'll have yourself a heat pack or a cold pack. I do want to share down here with you. This is my box of shame. Actually, not this. These are what sheets and curtains and shower curtains come in, and I save them because they're really useful for organizing things. I particularly like using them whenever I'm packing. to go somewhere, and you can just like shove all your stuff in there and it stays compartmentalized, and this is worn, and this wasn't worn, this is mine, this is Josh's. And I mean, they're free, which is so much better than paying for the travel cubes, right? Okay, so this is my box of shame. These I actually needed for medical reasons. I had to detox. This is what my life used to be like, and I feel like this is probably typical for most Americans. I mean, definitely was for me. Look at all these products that I have. I have several tanning lotions. Oh, look, there's another tanning lotion. Why did I need so many? Look at all of these smelly things that I had. Why did I have so many? Because they were on sale. I sure as heck didn't need them. Let's see. There's lotions in here, smelly lotions. Check out this dry shampoo. This dry shampoo, I read the ingredients in it. Isobutane, alcohol, propane, tapioca starch. That is actually your active ingredient. The fourth ingredient is the active ingredient. Fragrance, which who knows what chemicals those are. Silica, which is plastic. Also, the propane that we mentioned, that's another fossil fuel, right? And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. So all of this, plus the packaging, plus the exorbitant amount that I paid for it, whenever I could have just used arrowroot powder or cornstarch, for crying out loud. So certain low waste practices can definitely save you a decent amount of money. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with all these. I don't use them anymore. But yeah, anyway, that's that. I think I just like to use it as a reference as to where I started from. There was a point whenever I had...
What that means is my name turns up, but the camera is not on. They can't see.
Well, we got that covered up anyway.
Oh, true. Hey, Mama Bird.
I don't know what I was saying. So it's a reminder. Oh, I used to have like 60 pairs of shoes, which is so embarrassing to even think back on, much less admit to a whole bunch of people. But because they would go on sale, I didn't think about where they came from. I didn't think about the impact. They were cheap. And fast fashion is a huge issue ethically and as well as environmentally. So choosing slow fashions, realizing that, hey, I've got a good pair of shoes, maybe I don't need another pair of shoes, or I don't know, maybe that's not the best example, but just learning to maybe live a little more gently in terms of using resources. So, okay. I think we're done here. Let's move on to, we had to add some special lighting here. Whew. Let's see the kitty. So this is our laundry area, and our detergent is plant derived. Unfortunately, it does come in plastic. There's another brand, 7th generation, and it does not. From my research, I feel like Ecos is a better company for the environment. So even though it comes in plastic, that plastic is technically recyclable here. So I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of resources that are going into it, and how can we really be able to make the proper decision? I can't see what exactly is going behind any of these factories' walls, right? So I don't know. I kind of go between those, but Ecos, I think, is a better company. Oh, this reminds me. This is plant powered. Our dish soap and hand soap, we use the same, is also derived from plants. I would like to make a note that a lot of people have been using Dawn and soap, that is soap, and salt and vinegar to act as a weed killer and thinking it's a natural weed killer, and it is not. Dawn has cancer-causing chemicals in it, and those chemicals are known to pollute our waterways. So I just want everyone to be mindful of that. Also, whenever you're using that solution, you have to apply it multiple times. And because of the salt in there, that means that you're not just killing that plant, you are killing that area around it. You are killing all of the unique ecosystem that is there and all the microbes in there. So you're actually going to end up with a dead space in your yard. So kind of a tangent, but kind of useful info, right? Okay, so that was our detergent. That's bleach. Don't use bleach. It's bad stuff. Distilled vinegar is what we use in order to soften our fabrics. We use it in lieu of fabric softener, which has a lot of bad chemicals in it. You can also use distilled vinegar to strip your towels. If you notice they're as they used to be, you can add distilled vinegar to their load. It'll remove that gunk that's on there and they'll be super fluffy and really absorbent. I would like to share a caution about using distilled white vinegar with your laundry. In much the same way I didn't feel comfortable making my own toothpaste, I don't feel comfortable making my own laundry detergents. It is not recommended. There are certain products, chemicals, I guess, that are put in them in order to save your washing machine. A lot of times the homemade ones are very rough on the rubber gaskets and rubber and plastic parts that are in your machines, causing them to get weak and break, and then you either have to repair your washing machine or just get a new one, and that's also not very environmentally friendly, right? So maybe someday I'll find some sort of laundry detergent that I feel comfortable making recipe-wise, but until then. Also, distilled white vinegar can potentially do the same thing if you use it too much of it too often. So again, just be mindful that you do have delicate rubber and plastic pieces in your washing machine that you don't want to ruin. Also, if you have anything elastic like Under Armour or what are those called? The really tights. I don't know. They have another name, but tights.
Yoga pants.
Yoga pants. I wouldn't recommend using this because it will harm the elasticity. Starch. I don't even know when I got that. Okay, so let's talk about drying. So I went ahead and I washed everything. Next, I'm going to put it out to air dry. And sometimes they get crunchy, but I go ahead and I let things completely air dry, or air dry as much as I can. And then I will put them into my dryer. And this serves two purposes. One, I add dryer balls to it, and they can be made out of several different materials. But I add the laundry to here, I add my balls, and what they do is they just kind of roll around with your fabrics, and they just kind of beat the crunchiness out of it. Since they are already dry, I do not have any heat on because there's no need for me to use the gas to heat it. I just want the tumbling motion, right? So I just put them on for like 10 minutes and then that's it. Sorry. One was to get rid of the crunchiness, and two, we have 8 beings in our house that have a heck of a lot of hair, and the hair in this house is astronomical, and that also helps remove some of the hair, and we'll find it in the lint filter. Speaking of lint, It's important to remember, be mindful of the fabrics that you choose for your clothes. I am a huge fan of buying things secondhand, and I definitely have clothes that are not all natural fibers. So if it wasn't made from an animal, which we wouldn't do, it would either be made from a plant, and if it wasn't made from a plant, it would be made from plastic. So that leaves a lot of fabrics out there to be made out of plastic. What happens whenever you wash these clothes is that you end up with these fibers coming off of your clothing, and these fibers are made out of plastic, and these fibers are finding their ways into our water treatment plants and go through that system and back into our water that we drink. Or they will find their way into the river, into our watersheds. Either way, we don't want microplastics. I think if you remember some of the problems that I told you about microplastics earlier. So this is a greenwashing. This is a greenwashing example. I received this for a birthday one year, and I was super excited because I was led to believe through advertising that it gathers microplastics and will hold on to them. You put it in the washing machine, hold on to them, and whenever your load's done, you go ahead and you remove it, you throw it away. But like, it tore up blankets, and it didn't do anything. It was absolutely ridiculous. It's called a Corable. Do not buy it. Do not buy into it. They're liars, and I only keep it so that I can tell people how much of liars they are and warn them. This is what we recently installed. And this connects to our washing machine. Instead of pumping straight to the drain, it goes through this filter first, and it catches the microplastic and drains the rest of the water before it goes down the drain. I highly recommend it. I'm really impressed. This is several loads worth, but just having one load, you see that there are admittedly some hair too, but definitely microplastics as well. I actually do highly recommend this product. We bought it online because we couldn't find it locally. It wasn't super cheap. How much was it?
140, I think.
I think you're right. I think it was 140. So, okay. We are rounding the corner, rounding the bases. We are moving into the bathroom now. And, let's talk about our toilet. This is what we use. I shouldn't say we, like I do it. Josh does it because he's a champ and he loves me. He just uses this pumice stone and literally, it's abrasive, it's mildly abrasive, and it just scrapes any toilet scum off of the porcelain. You can't use it for anything other than porcelain though, otherwise it will scratch, but the porcelain is absolutely fine to use on. It's really no different than the abrasiveness of like toilet bowl cleaners. You know how they're gritty and abrasive, but this way you don't have to use any chemicals. So Josh, thank you so much for keeping our toilets clean with the pumice stone. Let's see. So when we first moved into this house, we loved this bathroom, we loved this shower, but we weren't really that far in our low waste journey. So between the two of us, we couldn't put all of our hair care products here. It was just a wild mess. But now it's not so big of a deal. We still do have a dandruff shampoo here that Josh uses occasionally.
Yes, I do.
Although this is from Lush. These two, this one is from Lush. This one is actually intended for dandruff. I haven't tried this pink one yet. I'm excited to. Smells rich, this one for myself. I just don't remember the qualities that it had. This one is a locally found one. I actually don't recommend that one. I don't want to say the brand in case somebody else tries it and they like it. But there has been a big decrease in your need to use this shampoo since using your dandruff bar, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's pretty great. Hey, you like this? This was a product to, you know, keep our soaps dry, let them strain. We didn't have any room on this soap drainer, so we got creative and made our own. Again, we use zucchini sponges to wash with. Remember how I said that sometimes whenever you first start using them, they're quite abrasive, but after a while they get extremely soft and pliable. So I like to have one that's nice and broken down for my daily washing, but if you want to exfoliate, then you might want to keep another one that you don't use every day, so it stays a little stiff and so that you can exfoliate every now and again. Okay, this cup is left over from conditioning our hair. First, I'd like to share a tip about using bar shampoos. I've come across a lot of people that describe that using a bar shampoo leaves them with a waxy feeling or a greasy feeling, and I've actually experienced this. And what I have found is that it's actually in how I'm using my bar. And once I changed my method, then I haven't had any problems since. So what I will actually do is get in to the shower with my hair dry, keep my hair dry. I will take my shampoo and I will put it on, it's actually wet. Oh, they're all kind of wet. I will take my shampoo and I will lather it in my hand. And then I take my dry hair and I put it directly into my roots. Sometimes if I'm having trouble getting the center of my hair, I just split my hair in half and then apply it to my roots that way. You can add a little bit more water then after it's applied and it'll lather up nicely. It's already put into the location that you wanted it to be, and it allows you to then move it down your hair strands. For whatever reason, it doesn't end up waxy. I think the problem if you wet your hair first is that you have to apply so much that it's difficult to rinse off later. But that's just my perspective. Josh does not do what I just explained. He does what I just did not recommend, and it works perfectly for him. So I guess my point is, before you give up on a shampoo bar, maybe play around with the methods that you use to use it first. Okay, let's move on to conditioning. Much like we use distilled white vinegar for our fabric softener, we use apple cider vinegar for our hair. This is that sort of cup that I was telling you about. We'll add 2 fingers worth of apple cider vinegar from downstairs. We'll bring it up here whenever we're ready to shower. We will fill with hot water. I like to use warm water because I have low porosity hair and the heat opens up my follicles to allow all the benefits into the follicles. So just a little tip. After I've done my hair, I'm sorry, my hands are kind of soapy and I don't want to add that to my hair. But I do want to show you how I do this because it's difficult to describe. So my hair is wet, so it's going to kind of be in a string. And this is filled with apple cider vinegar and water. And I just put my hair in there and it does exactly what I want it to do because it's wet. And I go like this, literally. All of the length of my hair is in here. It is tight against my scalp and it stays in there until I kind of like slowly let it out along the sides. And that allows it to get to the other places in my scalp. And then I'll just kind of do this. I'll probably still have some on, so I'll swish it back over top of my hair so that what's dripping out of the lengths can go back on my scalp. And maybe I'll do that to the other side then. And then you let it soak while you are washing the rest of your body. Rinse it out at the end. A question I get really often is, does your hair smell like vinegar? And I think it's maybe happened twice, once with me and once with Josh, that our hair, it smelled like vinegar. I think just didn't rinse it out enough. but I don't find it difficult to rinse out at all. And whenever we did have the vinegar smell left over, it dissipated within an hour or two. So it really wasn't a big deal. I think that's it for this. Okay, whenever we first moved in here, watch out. I just want to show you the water pressure that we had. Unfortunately, I did not like that this only controlled the temperature. I couldn't control the speed with which it came out at. So we were wasting a lot of water because like a lot of volume is coming through there, a lot of pressure. So we went out and we purchased this valve, basically. It's a pressure regulator, and it was $3.50 from Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. And so now I can have it on whatever temperature I want, and then I can just like stop it anytime I want, and the temperature will remain. Or if I just need, you know, a little trickle for whatever reason, and there's really rarely a need for me to ever have it if we last. So it saved us a lot of money on certain in wasting water, and of course saved the water too. So $3.50, super highly recommended, very easy to add. 15 minutes, 20 minutes to install.
Yeah, super easy.
Boom. I think that's it in the bathroom. Yeah, see, cut them open, you'll get plenty more. All right, let's head back downstairs. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we saw while we were upstairs? Oh, our plants also, we are starting plants by seed. A lot of them are native plants or medicinal herbs. Okay, come on. I have a lot more links or comments that I would like to share. Oh, these are the, I don't know what you call them, the brands that I was recommending upstairs. I would just like to share links with you. Meanwhile, did anyone have any other questions?
Someone asked, is the, do you straight, Harry asked, do you straight apple cider vinegar or is it diluted?
It's definitely diluted. I think I read that you need to have it diluted at least like 1:4 or 1:5 ratio. But we use 2 fingers, like 2 fingers width of apple cider vinegar just to, you know, cover the bottom. And then whenever we take it upstairs, I fill that entire cup full, and I still notice the benefits. You can harm your hair if you don't dilute it. So, ooh, I'm gonna share this too. This is about learning how to transform your yard into a wildlife habitat and also how to certify it. Oh, is that all the things I have to share on there? Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for staying so much later. I do apologize for taking over, going over time. Any other questions?
Just wanted to say that was really great all around. Thank you so much, Rhea and Josh. That was really awesome. So informative and really inspiring.
Thank you, Sean.